Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Stormworks. In this one, we've got a little bit different of an episode for you. I kind of have a good combination of a little bit of building and then a little bit of gameplay. So definitely stick around, stay tuned for that. We're going to do some trucking later, but in the meantime, we're going to start off with the building. I didn't have as much time to kind of build in this episode, so I wanted to kind of at least give you guys some gameplay too. So we're going to work on adding a cold storage room in this episode. So that's kind of what I'm going to get going here. That blank space right behind the wall there is going to be our kind of freezer, I guess is what you would call it. But yeah, that's kind of what we got in store for this one. So if you guys do like this video, do like the series, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll also have a Discord link down below to our server. If you haven't checked that out, it's also a pretty good resource, good place to kind of hang out, talk about Stormworks, build some things, meet some pretty cool people. We play quite a few games in there. We play Battlefield every now and then. But yeah. Anyways, I'm going to kind of quit the chit-chat, and we're going to get the building done, and then we will switch over into the gameplay section of the video, and I'll talk a lot more in that side of the video. All right, so that's pretty much all the building we're really going to get done in this episode. So I did some stuff off camera, and I'll kind of show you guys that in a little bit. But I also did a little bit of detailing after the fact too to the freezer and whatnot. So kind of keep that in mind. I had some lights and some shelves in there, nothing too fancy, but I'm just kind of checking our gauges. I want to make sure that the cooler is working correctly, and then while we're waiting, I'm going to show you this section. So I kind of worked on this section. So we got some 2 empty tanks for just liquid storage, whatever you guys need to use. And then to the right there, you guys see there's a charger too. So I added some chargers to the land ship in the cargo area, just in case you're storing like a vehicle or something, you can keep it charged up. And then, I did a little bit of work up here too off camera. So you guys will notice that the weather screen matches our colors now. And then I also added a rear view camera. But that is, like I said, going to be pretty much all the building we're going to do in this episode. So I'm going to switch over. We're going to get a trailer hooked up, and I'm going to throw some cargo on it, and then we are going to drive all the way across this island. So stay tuned. I'll get that all ready up, and we'll kind of head to the other side of the island. All right, so I spawned in our trailer. I got us all hooked up, so you guys will notice we got a trailer back here. There's 3 cargo containers on it. I didn't want to load it up too much. This is kind of more of like a test run, if you will. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get in this thing, and we're just going to hit the road. Might as well. All right, so let me get up into the bridge, and I'll kind of show you the route we're going to take. So I'm just going to get us all ready to go, and looks like our map is ready. And so there you go. There's our trailer real quick. So we're going to head all the way from this runway over to this town, and we'll just kind of pretend that they have a delivery that they need to be done. So we're going to get over there however we want, and I'm going to show you guys. Driving this thing is a little weird because you can't really take the bridges. It's a little too big to take in the bridges. I will say it fits in the tunnels, so you can go through the tunnels fine. But going over the bridges, I would just kind of cross the water. So it's a good thing this is amphibious. And I just got all of our settings pulled up, so you can see we're going to do this all with no infinite electric, no infinite fuel, and vehicle damage on. So we'll see how good or poorly this goes, I guess. But yeah, we're just going to hit this road, or hit the road, and head right on over to the other side of the island. So it shouldn't take too long. The land ship is a little slower with cargo, obviously, especially in the water. In the water without cargo, you can get up to like 60, 70 miles an hour. And with cargo, it's going to go about 40. So you're a little slower, but you can kind of skip roads and go a little bit more of a direct route. And then when you're on land, you can get going, 80, 90 miles an hour. So not slow. The big thing with this thing is not hitting trees and not hitting obstacles. It's so big that's kind of becomes a challenge. So there's a bridge already coming up. What I'm going to do is, this looks like a good area to kind of just head right into the water. So we're going to just start off with that. And I'm going to dip into the water, and we will cross this river instead of taking the drawbridge. And I guess I'm going to just kind of treat this more like a trial run for the land crawler. So I've driven it around a lot, and it drives fine, but we haven't really done too much cargo moving, if that makes sense. And that's kind of one of the main goals for this thing to be able to do. So we got the big crane, we've got the big trailer, so we're going to kind of just test it out. So I'm going to head to the other side of the river. We're going to drive through the valley a little bit, and then I think we're going to probably have to head back into the water. I could be wrong, but anyways, we're heading up on this bank, so I'm just going to slow down so we don't smash the front of this. We're not trying to brake immediately. I'm sure something will break eventually. It is Stormworks. But looks like we got out of the water just fine. Cargo got out of the water just fine, and we're back on the road and moving. So again, the goal for this is really more of like a shakedown. I want to see what we should change, what works well, what doesn't work well. One thing I've already noticed is I need to either extend the hitches on the truck or kind of round those corners. The turning radius with the trailer is not super tight, and they tend to kind of knock into each other if you try to take a really, really tight turn. So that's something we'll have to figure out, but we luckily we're kind of in the middle of a valley right now, so that's not really too much of an issue. So I'm just going to keep heading on this way, and I'm going to try to leave most of this journey uncut for you guys. So we're going to speed through a little bit of it. I think it's about 30 minutes of me driving. So I'm going to kind of speed up the time, and we'll just kind of keep going with the video like we normally do. I might throw some music in here. We'll talk a little bit too. So All right, well, we're back on the road, or back, not back on the road. We're definitely not on a road. No, we're back in the live play. I slowed it back down, so we're back in real time. And you can see we tried to get out of the water there. It didn't go too well. That bank was a little too steep, so I'm kind of just looking for another one. I think we got a nice shallow bank up ahead that we can kind of crawl out of. But we're almost there. We're headed on over to the town, like I said earlier, and then I'm gonna hopefully try to drive this thing through the trees. If you're unfamiliar with that town over there, the roads are a little tight to be driving something this size in, but we're gonna give it a shot, and then we'll just get these pipes unloaded and kind of drive on home. But enough of that. So definitely we should probably work on this thing's ability to get out of the water. So I feel like it probably should have been able to get out of that bank. It was a little steep, but it's not too steep, so maybe I'll have to bump the grip up a little bit more. This thing is not short of power, so I'm not really concerned about all that. It's just the wheels kind of start to act a little weird and glitchy when you start modifying the grip, especially when they're this size. They start to bounce around a lot, so I have to do a lot of like weird microcontrollers for the brakes and stuff to kind of multiply the brakes and make sure that they are not just kind of shaking all over the place. But that's all right. This is why we're doing it. It's kind of a shakedown, like I said. So I also, you saw in the time lapse, I kind of headed down into the engine room, and our engine temps are looking good. They're actually looking really, really good. It was hovering around 60 degrees Celsius. So I don't think we're going to have any overheating issues, which is nice. We were full throttle in the water. So definitely that's pretty good. Like I said, we aren't short on power. It seems to be able to keep itself pretty cool. So that's very, very good. At least we don't have to play around with the engine at all, which is good. I've played around with the gearbox quite a bit in this thing, and I think I got it to a place where I really like it. But it looks like I slid down that hill a little bit. You can't quite fit over the tracks, so we're kind of stuck in this valley. I'm going to have to try to get out of here, but we have basically made it to the town at this point. Now it's more so about kind of maneuvering around and making sure that we don't take half of the forest with us. And personally, I don't really care if I do smash into trees, but Stormworks seems to have a problem with it. So we're going to try to avoid them. Otherwise, I would just barrel through the trees and make my own path. The nice thing about this land crawler is the engine is way in the back, tucked in between the rear axles. And then the controls are all way above the trees. So you can smash it up pretty good by just driving it through the trees, and it doesn't really affect the drivability or the damage of it at all. One thing I am concerned about, like we mentioned earlier, is those back corners where the trailer may clip into it. And the reason I'm kind of concerned about that is because those back corners are where our 2 diesel storage tanks are. So each one of those tanks has, I think, 12,000 liters of diesel in it. And it would not be good to kind of smash one of those up, which might be a little bit of foreshadowing. But yeah, so I'm just going to kick it into low gear. We're going to circle around. I'm going to head down these people's main road, I guess. They're probably not super happy about the arrival of a vehicle this big, so I'm going to blast my horn and kind of make them extra happy. Hello, wake up if you're not. But yeah, we're going to head down here, and then we've got a really, really tight corner that we're going to have to make, and that is going to be a little tricky, but I think we should be able to do it. Again, might have to knock down a couple trees here or there, but we'll see. You guys can hear those wheels are kind of going crazy, and that's, again, kind of because the grip factor is moved up. So I think right now I have the grip factor at 35, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me, but I know it's definitely not above 45, and it's definitely not below 20, so I'm trying not to go crazy with it. I'm not going to, put grip factor 9,000 in there. It's just not really realistic. But the wheels, for those of you who are wondering, are a 5x5 that are modified to be 12 meters in radius. And there we go. That was exactly what I didn't want to happen. So we're probably going to start leaking fuel, and that's fine. But should be okay. There's 2 different tanks. The left tank is actually the feed tank, and they have a crossfeed. They have crossfeed pumps, so shouldn't really affect how the engine performs. We're just going to leak fuel all over the place. So these townsfolk probably are not super thrilled about my delivery, but that's not my problem. I was hired to do a job, and I'm here to do it. So I'm going to just park this thing real quick, and I'm going to go disconnect the trailer, and then we are going to try to get one of these cargo containers offloaded using the crane. And the crane's something that is a work in progress, guys. It's got a lot of work that I need to do, so we got to do a lot of stuff to kind of the controls and that. And the seat is also outside, so kind of take all that with a grain of salt. I just wanted to make sure it was strong enough to pick up a cargo container as well as move it off of the trailer. So that's kind of what we're going to try to do here. I'm going to move the furthest cargo container in the back, the pipes. We're going to take that off, drop it off, and then I'm going to hopefully hook up the trailer again and head back to O'Neill Air Base, and we're going to head back to that hangar. So, and for those of you who are wondering, that is where the trailer disconnects are, so they're inside the trailer. And probably I should add one to the land crawler, but I noticed when we got here that I didn't have one, so we're kind of making do. And I'm going to kind of no-clip around a lot here, guys, just to kind of speed things up. We're not in career mode or anything like that. It's all right. You'll also notice that the front isn't detailed like I said it was. So I recorded this video a couple days ago, and then came back. I did have a little bit of time to do some building, so that's kind of what I did. But enough of that. We are shooting our fuel out all over our trailer, super safe. And I'm going to try to get this thing turned around without running over anybody's market stall. Good luck to them if I do. But yeah, I'm going to try to turn this around. We're going to get the trailer and the land crawler nice and parallel. The crane's on the left side, or yeah, it's on the left side. So we're going to have to turn around, and that's kind of one of the main things. So yeah, goodbye trees, get out of my way. And there we go. So we should be able to hopefully hook up the trailer. This is something I did off camera too. I just added some equipment slots back here for the people going outside. And we are going to get this crane out. And we have a little bit of an issue because the weight, or the shackle, I guess, whatever you want to call it, is stuck. So I'm going to have to figure that out, but shouldn't be too much of a problem. I don't think I can move it myself. Yeah, so let me see if popping the crane up in the sky will free it. We're just going to put the crane as high up as possible, and hopefully that will kind of resolve our problem for us. Yeah, there we go. Fling it all over. Nice and safe, how we roll. Safety second. And I'm going to get this kind of right over the pipe. So it's not perfectly over. The crane's boom does extend, but I think we can kind of get it where we need with ropes. So I'm going to just get this first rope attached. And you guys all know that ropes in Stormworks weigh more than iron. So it should pull the shackle over to where we need it to go. And I'm just going to keep no-clipping back and forth to grab some ropes. Let me get this up and out of the way a little bit. I was actually recording this on medium physics, so I think I'm going to have to change that. For those of you who don't know, medium physics and low physics makes the ropes kind of stretchy, and it also makes the pivots a lot weaker. So the crane was kind of naturally falling down on itself, so I just added some trim. But I was unaware that it was on low physics until I go to actually lift this thing up, and it didn't lift. So that's something I will probably take a look at. I would like for this to work on all physics, especially the crane, but can't really do much about the ropes being stretchy in this game. So we'll see what we can do. I might have to kind of make it. I really don't know what I would do. I know I could fix the pivot thing. That shouldn't be too hard, but the whole ropes being stretchy, that's a whole different story. So might have to add a lot more anchor points or something like that. We'll see. I'll play around with it off camera. And if I come up with a solution, I will show you guys and let you know. So I disconnected it from the trailer, and we're going to go lift it up. And you can see there's my elastic ropes just stretching all over the place. And for a second, I thought it was still connected to the trailer, but it's not. So it's definitely the physics setting. As you guys can see, as soon as I change those, it's going to shoot right into the air and be a potential hazard for everybody nearby. Once again, safety second. Safety doesn't really need to be a main priority if you look cool doing it. Words to live by, guys. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, let's get that switched up, and you can see immediately it shoots right into the air. So it looks like our crane is strong enough. I'm probably gonna have to play around with it a little bit. And I have nowhere to set this guy, so we're gonna have to move the land crawler, which is also probably not the safest thing to do, but it is what we are gonna do. And hopefully it doesn't smash into the side of the land crawler, but if it does, that's all right. It probably won't break anything too important. Might just put a hole in the bedrooms or something like that. Who cares? You guys can sleep with a jacket on. But it is going crazy up there, as you can see. And I'm sure these town folks will be not thrilled that their delivery is here considering I'm dumping oil and diesel fuel all over their beautiful town, and I smashed up a bunch of trees and almost ran over a couple people, and I woke them all up. But that's what you get when you hire the cheapest towing options. So we're gonna get this unhooked, and then I'm gonna try to swing the land crawler around, and we'll head back to the air base. So. All right, well, we got the trailer hooked up with only some minor tree damage. Again, I don't care about those trees, but sometimes Stormworks does, so it worries me a little bit. But we're fine, we're on the road, and we're going to try to head back, and I'm going to drive a little bit less carelessly just to see how much abuse this thing really takes. And you can also see something's bugging out with my crane. There's a rope flinging around all over the place, so I'm going to have to check that out too. But yeah, we got the cargo container unloaded. It was only half of a struggle, which I consider a win in this game. So that is pretty much all we've got for today's episode. If you guys like the gameplay, let me know, and don't forget to leave a like down below. I will definitely try to do a little bit more of these kind of career style gameplay missions with this thing. That's kind of a lot of the creations I build aren't really career driven, but this thing is a little bit more career driven. It's probably a little bit more end game, but that's kind of the goal with this, is something you can use in career mode. So yeah, that is just about the end of the video. Looks like we're gonna get some sick air here, and do we make it? Nope, absolutely not. All right, well, that's a mess they can pick up. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.